But I just wanted to share a little tip for you that I figured out about the V-bar control. Most of you guys, these V controls are getting really cool. It's awesome because you can just do all the programming in the transmitter. You don't have to hook it up to a computer. By far, this is definitely a great controller. I've had nothing but enjoyment, except for one little issue that I ran into. Hopefully I'm the only person who had this issue. Hopefully it was just a freak thing, but if any of you guys are starting to experience this thing, it took me a while to figure it out. Once I did, I was so happy to just have it behind me, but hopefully I'll be able to save some of you guys some time if you're experiencing the same thing. So basically what the symptom is if you're flying and one of your gimbals kind of sticks. So initially what I saw is I would be doing some rudder moves, and then afterwards it would still have a little bit of rudder input, and it didn't seem to be any particular direction. I'd give it counterclockwise rudder and then let go, and then it would still go slowly counterclockwise, and then I'd do it some clockwise rudder and then let it go, and then it would still go slowly clockwise, which was kind of inconvenient when you figure out you finish out a maneuver and then it's still kind of rotating. And I thought it was just maybe one machine when I first tried it. I'm like, okay, I'll just change the settings. No, it started moving over to every single one of my machines. So I thought maybe it's something mechanical, maybe I've programmed these things wrong, and it just seemed odd because I had the tail nice and solid on these things when I first programmed them, and then all of a sudden this thing happened and it started coming on all of my models. So what I finally did was I figured out, I did this, and you could see that there was just a little bit of binding in the gimbal here. So I would give it some rudder, and then when I let go, it would still just a little bit stick there, and then same in the other direction. If I did that, it would still stick just a little bit, so it would around center. It wouldn't actually go right back to the neutral position and go in the middle. It would just stick a little bit. So once I realized, it's like, okay, there's got to be something in the radio going on here. Nothing in the settings. Took it apart. I was like, I got to figure out what's going on there. It's definitely something mechanical. Pulled it apart. Basically what I did was you opened the manual, followed every little piece of direction to take the back apart and take the gimbals out. Did that. It was a bit of a pain, so make sure that you go through this step by step and that you're not losing where all the different parts go. And basically I pulled this gimbal out, and there was little plastic flashing in there that I had to cut away that was causing the binding. And then once I cut that stuff out and put it back together, it was good as new. It was back to where it was, and now I'm just back to flying again, and I don't have any weird tail problems. So here's a closer look at some pictures I took. I know the pictures aren't that great, but here we go. Okay, so here is a look at what we have in the manual. This shows you how to take it apart. You just have to get the hex screws to take all of these screws out that are circled. Make sure that you don't just yank it apart. Got to get these cables out of there. Make sure everything's disconnected and you're following along with these instructions as they are. There's some parts here that you have to remove. It gets a little tricky. Basically, I figured out that just tightening these springs to try to get that tension a little tighter did not actually work. It's still stuck. So just to get that binding, basically I had to pull all of these cables, make sure that you know the order that you're doing this, because this little part here, getting this one off and getting it back on is a little tricky. So make sure that you get everything in the right order. Then once you get it open, so you can basically get this whole gimbal out of here. So what I had here's a closer look of what I pulled out. So basically I took this adjustment stick off so that I could actually pull it through, and then I was able to pull this whole gimbal out through the back of the transmitter. And then basically what I had here was there was some flashing here. There was like little plastic that had, I don't know, bent or whatever, little piece in there, but it was causing the binding in what I had. So I basically went in there and took an X-Acto knife and just kind of shaved all those little pieces of plastic that were just kind of sticking out as a result of the transmitter falling, and then put the whole thing back together, and that is what fixed my problem. So in here, if you're getting that whole thing, you're getting that play, that basically if this is sticking and you're starting to get a little left and right rudder that you're not inputting, after you do some right rudder it sticks right rudder, or left rudder and it sticks. And basically if you're experiencing the same thing I am, then it's caused by a little bit of extra plastic that's in here that probably came out when it fell forward or dropped somehow. And again, make sure when you put it back together, make sure all the springs are set as they're supposed to. I just recommend take pictures and place things correctly so that You just put it all back in this opposite order that you took it out, and then you'll be good to go. Okay, like I said, guys, hopefully that helped you. This probably happened as a result. I set my transmitter down. I think it fell forward. It wasn't a big distance that it fell. It was just, it may have been on a chair and fell forward. I don't remember a big, drop of this thing, but I know I've set it down before, and then it knocked it over, and then it fell forward. And I think after one of those is when the plastic started causing the binding. So hopefully this helps you guys. Hopefully none of you are actually experiencing this, but if you are, give this a try, and I really hope it helped you guys out.